Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sharona.
Good morning to everyone from me too, and also good morning, Tamar.
It's lovely to see you in the morning. Makes the day starts the different way, especially when we start our discussions about the thoughts in the morning.
Yep.
Illuminates the day.
So today's thought,
Wait,
and before we do our thought, just to come into that illuminated space inside. So just leave whatever situations or people or things that take me away from that inner light, that inner peace. Just leave that and go deep inside. Recharge and open your ability to understand.
I
Do
can
you
stay a whole 20 minutes today in quiet.
get something going on there?
Sometimes, some days are like that. Some days are like that.
Some days are like that.
Yeah. So, what is our thought for today?
Making the speed of your efforts intense. Sorry, make the speed of your efforts intense and make your break powerful. Break as in a car brake.
Yeah, I was thinking a real car,
R-A-K-E.
yeah. metaphor of as a car. אני אתרגם את זה רגע. צרו מהירות אינטנסיבית במאמצים שלכם, וחזקו את הבלמים שלכם. So it's nice. It's also to get fast, but but when you try to go fast, you have to work on your brakes. You
You
can't
have to
afford to
be
go
very,
fast when your brakes are not working.
that's right. Good, such a good point. You have to have good breaks, but you also have to be super alert, super attentive to catch that break the second it's needed, but then release that break and move fast. Wow, that's a quite a good analogy to start with. I was going to get more like pedantic about it
Go for it.
because I know that this aspect of the spiritual journey was always a little bit ambiguous for me, I could say, or it was like I couldn't really grasp it. I didn't like the word intense, first of all. And I didn't understand efforts having a speed. So I never really got it. But just to clarify this right from the beginning, what I've come to understand is that when we're talking about intense, all we're doing is talking about a focus, a singular intention, and and the importance of having your intention very clear. You could even call it an aim, and always moving towards that. Intense doesn't mean which is how I was my whole life, and that's not healthy. Intense just means, as I was saying, a certain clarity about intention or aim. And then speed of effort means the time it takes to align myself to that intention or that aim. It shouldn't be that I have an aim for my life. And I'm not talking about career goals or my bank account. I'm talking about spiritual aims for emotional, spiritual self-care. So it shouldn't be that I have emerged a clarity about that, but it takes me like 3 hours before I even see how I strayed from that, and another 3 hours to get myself back.
Six
That's
hours,
the
you're fast,
speed.
Sharona.
But that's the speed. It shouldn't even be a second or a second to catch that I'm off target and get myself back on. So that's that. And that's where we see the break is so important, because as soon as I see that I'm out of alignment with my, call it principles or my intention and my aim, then to put a stop to the feelings or those thoughts, which requires a few things, like, for example, having a stock of what I can put there instead. So I like to call it a full stop. That break has to work, but the full stop requires that I've got a certain degree of fullness of something else to put in its place. So that's how I understand this.
I really love, I really love what you said about intense, because the minute you said we're speaking about the thought, something didn't feel right to me, because there should be a balance. And your speed, I see sometimes people push the gas, spiritual path. Actually, it goes same way in developmental and also in our career goals, okay? If we put the gas too fast and we're trying to force reality, it doesn't work. Now, I really, really like, when you said intense and focus, and I was thinking, when we think about one thing, when we focus, I work a lot with trance therapy. And the only thing you do in trance therapy is being focused, like when we watch TV, for instance, and we're so focused on it. And then if somebody calls our name, we might not hear it. So when we're really focused on something, we're really into it, it gives it a lot of power. And when we do it, not with the TV, but with our lives, it gives us a lot of powers. So I really like this intense, the meaning you gave to the word intense, because I think when we have focused, it's like when we focus the fire. If we put fire toward one place instead of spreading it all out, it works on that place.
That's right.
And it doesn't, yeah.
It makes me think of the old adage, that story of the turtle and the hare, the rabbit.
Yeah.
The rabbit went charging and did not win the race in the end. Who knows what was driving it? Ego, stress, whatever. But the turtle just paced itself. It knew that it was in a not in a 10-yard dash, but in a 10-mile run. And so it paced itself. And I love the idea that intense can mean pacing yourself. In fact, intense effort requires pacing yourself. So I also think that that's really important.
Yeah, that's exactly the story I was going to go to. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Because it shows us, I'm not sure if I want to go turtle way exactly, but
right.
it shows us that the balance is important.
Balance
And
is
it shows us it's not, and one of the words I use to me and to my the people around me on the day is benachat. Now benachat, it doesn't mean stay and don't do anything, but it means take the time, because when you pace right the right speed that is good for you, and that's the balance with the brakes. See which speed, when we go too fast, we feel like vomiting. When we move too fast, our body reacts to it. And
it's
we're not aware to it all time, all day. But if we understand the notion that when we move too fast, our ecosystem is not well.
It's
Then we learn, and I think we need to learn how to align ourselves with the right pace for us and align it with the universe, with the creation, with the drama, with everything that goes around.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of frustration when we try to speed up things. So we can, maybe my pace is 10 kilometers an hour, but not right now the the universe pace or the, my environment is like in 5 kilometers per hour.
You
It's not
know,
going to help.
that actually reminds me of another image. You know, when you're driving down the highway,
Yeah,
you don't require everybody to go at your pace. There are different lanes for different speeds. Of course, there's an overall safety speed limit, but you're bringing up another aspect, I feel, which is just to respect other people's pace.
right.
Um, it's not because I need to speed that everyone has to stay with me. And then there's probably different rhythms at different moments. But I was also thinking, practically speaking, how does this all look and how does it work? Because I see it now, again, my intention at this point, my aim is to be someone generating a different kind of energy, different kind of vibration as she moves through her day, her life. I have understood the value vibrationally of elevated, clean, uplifting feelings and thoughts and attitudes, words and actions. I've understood that for myself. It's a intention and an aim. And I can remember how it used to take me not just hours, but even weeks to align myself. And then all it required was the person who triggered me to walk back into the room for me to lose whatever alignment I would have. So, how to do it, how to begin to reduce the gap between knowing I'm off track and then being able to get myself on track versus being pulled off and staying off.
I think first of all, it's nice you said how to know I'm going off track. First of all, you need to know where your track is.
You need
And
an
and the
aim.
minute we go for focused intention
That's right.
and be aware of it and give our awareness to it, we right away we know when we're off
That's
track.
that's right.
And I have to say, because I believe in mind and body, that I usually see the signs in my hand. If I feel for a second, if a water spills, if my fingertip is burned or scratched, I know this is a sign for me.
Ah,
That's the way I look at the world, and that's a single sign for look out, watch out. You're getting close to your boundaries. Something
interesting.
here, yeah. But that's that's the way I look at the world, and it just signals me like that. And I
What
think, sorry.
No, just to say what it is for me is that I lose my happiness, or I
Hmm,
lose my peace, or I
yeah.
lose my love. Because, somebody was saying that this morning in our class. It was so beautiful. She was asked, what was the life-changing experience that made her adopt a yogi life? And she was saying that she was so fast-track career oriented in her profession, doing very well. But then she attended a retreat and she discovered that she had love inside her. And by the end of the retreat, she felt that this was so important, this love. And she started understanding how her approach to life, her career, etc., was just killing what was that love in her. And she needed to give a lot of quality time to that love. Now that's really beautiful.
That's beautiful.
And when you get to that point in life, and I think that's what's happening. as the crises in the world are removing from us the safety and security that consumerism and materialism would have given us. So I think a lot more people are coming to the need to define some inner intention, inner aim. And so for me, those are the signs. But the question I want to know is, how do
How to
you
get
bring
there.
yourself back? Because that's what we need to share about.
Yeah. So for instance, so first of all, I feel off track the minute, you know, something is that I act. The signs usually make it like it happens to me before, but the minute that I'm off track, I feel it. I
Yeah.
can be edgy. I feel it in my body and my behavior.
So what do
And
you
then
do?
for
What do
instance,
you
you
do to
talked
bring
about
yourself
love.
back?
And I think the minute I feel and let's say this is our focused intention today to put love in, okay, for instance, or feel that something is not aligned there and we want to focus on that. And then one of the methods I use, I think of somebody I love and
Oh,
I think about him. Wait a minute, it gets better. And I really focus on him and I feel my love.
that's
And
beautiful.
then after a few minutes of feeling this love, I think about a random person that I watched on the street that crossed me, somebody I don't know, somebody who's like just passed by me today. And the same love I give to him, I transfer. And I continue feeling this love when I see that person. And I have to tell you, that's amazing experience because
That's
you
beautiful.
understand that it feels from you. And then I go the next step. And if somebody annoyed me today or something like that, I move that love toward him too.
Beautiful. So
And
beautiful.
that's one of the method when we're focused intention and we can do it with love, we can do it with anything else.
Exactly.
But love
Exactly.
is very easy. It's very easy to ignite it with because we love people. It's our
It's so
nature.
interesting. It's so interesting because love for me was the hardest to ignite, I can tell you. I must have been coming from some really tormented
No,
past
no, no.
life.
I know what you're talking
The
about.
hardest, but I can tell you, I see how in my life I was naturally doing that without realizing it, because peace is something I needed to introduce into my life at some point. You know, there's no stress, no intensity. And I often just thought of this amazing person that I met about 50 years ago who was so incredibly silent and peaceful in a very interactive way. I was always just thinking about him, and that helped. Of course, now I feel that, especially in the times we're in, we have to grab every moment we have to be remembering those peaceful moments and people, loveful moments and people. And that's our fullness, to keep ourselves full with that. For me, it's God. I keep as much as I can connect to the experience of the love, the peace that I get from the one above. But the idea is accumulated so that I'm less vulnerable to all those things that can pull me off track. And I have the power to get me back on.
You always have the greatest thought to say at the end for us for the minute that needs to come. It's amazing. That's
Great.
perfect. And I'm going to take that for this minute of
Sounds
retreating
good.
and having this picture in mind.
Sounds good. Very lovely. Thank you so much, Tamar. We take a minute.
Thank you, Sharona.
Thank you,
Thanks,
my
everyone.
dear. See you
Nice
on
to meet you.
Sunday.
See
We
you on
are
Sunday,
continuing the series, but see you on Sunday.
8:30. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.